Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another video, and this time we're looking at Kalindula music. We'll continue looking at the song Chimbayambaya by Chishala. Now, like I've always said, Chimbayambaya is a very loaded song in terms of music or music ideas that Chishala used. And today I am excited because we'll be looking at the influence of rock music on Kalindula music. Yes, you heard me right, the influence of rock music on Kalindula music. And in particular, we'll be looking at the influence of the Beatles on Kalindula music. So we'll listen to the part that we'll be analyzing today. And I want you to pay very particular attention to what Chishala does in this passage that we're going to be analyzing today. So I want you to listen to the passage or the music, and then we can talk about it later. Okay, what you heard in the music is that now Chishala uses a different scale. He uses a different scale. And this scale is called the Mixolydian mode. He uses the Mixolydian mode, and I'm going to demonstrate this. What happens is that he's in the scale of C. Now, what he uses is that he uses a different note on the 7th degree of the scale. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then goes to the 8th one, which is the same as the first note here. So what he uses is that he uses a flat 7. This one, okay, so which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then he goes. So this is the scale that he uses. Now, the flat 7 is a very common note used in Kalindula music. You hear it most of the time being used. For instance, you can hear someone playing like now, this is the flat 7 that we're talking about. Now, this is the Mixolydian mode that Chishala uses. Now, what it does is that instead of just using it as a scale, he uses it with chords, okay? That is, he builds a chord on the first note of the scale, that's a C, and then also he builds a chord on the 7th, flat 7 that he plays. So this is the flat 7, then he builds a chord there, okay? So you have that chord which is like B flat that he plays on the 7th, okay? And then he goes to the 4th degree of the scale, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, then back to 1. Now, this is a very interesting progression that he uses. And this is what he does. Okay, I'll play that again. So he uses those chord progression. And we call these chord progression belt on in the Mixolydian mode, that's the Mixolydian mode in C. Again, I play that scale. Okay? Okay, that's the Mixolydian scale that he uses. So, what he plays are, we call that as a flat 7 chord, and then into 4, then into 1. Again, that's a flat 7 chord, 4 into 1. Now this Mixolydian scale, or using chords built on the Mixolydian scale, is a very common practice in rock music. There's a lot, there's a lot of music songs that use this progression. And one of the most interesting songs of all times done by the Beatles is the song Hey Jude. Now, for the sake of demonstration, Hey Jude is originally in the scale of F major, but I'm going to play it in the scale of C, just to show the relationship between what Chishala does and also what the Beatles do. They use the same progression, and this is how they play. And you see or you hear this progression, especially towards the last part of the song, the most sung part of the song. And you sometimes also this song is played during football matches, like I've heard it being played in the Premier League, especially when Manchester City is playing. You hear this song, and also other clubs as well. It's a very famous song, but the last part of it is what I want to play. It goes. I'm sure you remember that part, but let's analyze that. What they do is that they also go on, they start on 1, then that's a flat 7, then to a 4, then to a 1. Again, 1, flat 7, 4, then 1. Okay? And that's what Chishala does. Now the part that is interesting is, okay? Now, then, that's what he plays. That's PK. But the Beatles play. So it's very interesting that we have this influence on Kalindula music, and Chishala uses this idea and makes those chords based on the Mixolydian scale. That is the use of the flat 7. I'll repeat, the use of flat 7, that's the Mixolydian scale. And he builds a chord there, which is not part of C major, but he builds that chord on the 7th, and then he resolves that into a 4 and into a 1, making the same progression that the Beatles use. Okay? He also starts with 1, then he goes to, then 4, then 1. Even the Beatles, the same thing. 1, that's flat 7, 4 into 1. And that's very interesting. So we see that not only is Kalindula fusion influenced by traditional Kalindula or by traditional dances, but we see also that it is also influenced by Western music. And here we see how Kalindula music meets with rock music, particularly the Beatles Hey Jude. I hope you've learned something, and I'll leave you to listen to the song, the same song that we've been looking at, the part that we've been analyzing. I want you to listen to it, and then I want to see how you can link those up, and I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Thank you very much. I hope to see you soon.